It was supposed to be just a fun sleepover, a simple snap to say goodnight. But when her mom zoomed in, she froze. A hand. A man's hand. In a room where no man should have been. She called 911 without a second thought. But when the truth came out, it wasn't what anyone expected. The rain had stopped just before sunset, leaving the pavement slick and glistening under the tired glow of streetlights. Lily Evans, 12 years old, bounced in her seat in the back of the minivan. Tonight was the sleepover at Mia Robinson's house, an event the girls had been counting down to for weeks. The Robinsons lived only 2 blocks away, in a quiet suburban neighborhood where everyone knew everyone. Safe streets, trimmed lawns, porch lights always left on, the kind of place where bad things weren't supposed to happen. The minivan slowed at the curb. Lily's mom, Vanessa, turned around with her usual smile, half playful, half stern. "Behave. Text me if anything feels off." Lily rolled her eyes and grinned. "Mom, it's just Mia's house." The door slid open with a metallic shh, and Lily leapt out, dragging her sleeping bag behind her. She ran up the walk, waved once without looking back, and disappeared inside. The living room was already a colorful mess of sleeping bags, pillows, and half-eaten snack bowls. Mia was waiting at the door, practically vibrating with excitement. "Finally! Hurry! We're starting!" Inside, Jenna, Sophia, and Bree were already sprawled out, arguing over what movie to put on. Laughter echoed off the high ceilings. The air smelled like buttered popcorn and cheap pizza. Somewhere upstairs, the Robinson parents moved around quietly, giving the girls their space. The night slipped by in a blur, loud dance-offs, whispered gossip, junk food wars. 100 little moments of being 12 and unstoppable. At some point, dares turned into giggles, and giggles turned into yawns. The storm outside picked up again, soft rain tapping at the windows. Around 11:30 p.m., Mia had an idea. One last selfie before we all crash. The girls scrambled into a loose huddle, jostling for space. Mia held the phone out at arm's length. "Say, we're not tired." Flash. The photo was imperfect, slightly blurry, grainy under the dim lamp, 5 messy faces squeezed together in a sea of sleeping bags and soda cans. In the background, the living room stretched out in chaos, toppled board games, an open closet door, shadows curling along the floor. Each girl sent the photo to her parents with tired good nights. Lily, barely awake, thumbed out a message to her mom. "Good night." Satisfied, she tossed the phone onto the carpet and burrowed deep into her sleeping bag, hoodie pulled over her head. The TV droned on quietly as the last few lights upstairs went dark. None of the girls noticed anything strange. 2 blocks away, Vanessa sat at the kitchen table, laptop open, half-finished paperwork strewn around her. Her phone buzzed once. Smiling, she picked it up. She opened the message. The image filled the screen. 5 happy girls. A room full of harmless chaos. She almost put the phone down. Almost. Something made her hesitate. A feeling she couldn't explain. She pinched the screen wider, zooming into the background. The girls' faces stretched. The messy floor became clearer. Overturned popcorn bowls, crumpled napkins, backpacks, sneakers. Her breath caught. Near the open closet door, almost hidden in shadow, was a hand. An adult's hand. Dark-skinned, rough, strong. Fingers curled lightly around the doorframe as if steadying for a step forward. Vanessa's stomach dropped. Her hands trembled. She zoomed in closer. The hand was attached to an arm, just barely visible, clothed in something dark. None of the girls should have a man in that room. None of the parents should be downstairs. No one. Without thinking, Vanessa hit the emergency button and pressed the phone to her ear. 911. What's your emergency? Her voice came out barely a whisper. There's someone in the house. There's someone in the house with the girls. Sirens were already screaming into the night before she ended the call, and in Mia Robinson's cozy living room, where 5 girls slept unaware, something else moved silently in the dark. The first squad car screeched to a halt outside Mia's house less than 4 minutes after Vanessa's call. The blue and red lights sliced through the quiet neighborhood, reflecting off windows and polished cars. Inside, the girls stirred, groggy from the sudden intrusion of flashing lights and muffled shouting. Lily rubbed her eyes and sat up, squinting toward the front windows. There was banging at the door, loud, urgent. Police! Open up! Mr. Robinson stumbled downstairs half-dressed, his face pale. He opened the door to find 2 officers, guns drawn low but ready. Another pair flanked the sides of the house, flashlights cutting through the darkness. We received a report of an intruder inside. Everyone needs to evacuate immediately. Mrs. Robinson hurried down with the younger siblings, clutching them close. One by one, the girls were herded outside, shivering in the cold night air, wrapped in blankets grabbed hastily from the couch. Vanessa arrived seconds later, tires screeching as she threw her car into park. She bolted from the driver's seat and ran to the cluster of girls. Her hands immediately found Lily's shoulders, squeezing them, checking, counting. Are you okay? Did you see anyone? Did you hear anything? Lily shook her head, too confused to answer properly. Around them, the neighbors were starting to gather, drawn by the sirens. Inside, the officers moved room to room, methodical and tense. Closet doors yanked open, showers checked, cabinets pulled back. They found nothing. No man, no sign of forced entry, no indication anyone but the family had been there. The living room was exactly as it appeared in the photo, a messy sprawl of pillows, soda cans, and abandoned snacks. The closet door stood open. Nothing inside but jackets and a stack of board games. Still, the hand had been real. Vanessa knew it. She watched the officers, her fists clenched, feeling the weight of the photo burning in her pocket. One officer emerged, his face grim. We need to check the rest of the property. The basement, crawl spaces, any shared walls with the neighbors. Mr. Robinson's face drained of color. There's an old maintenance crawl space under the house. It connects to the Miller place next door. It's been sealed for years, I think. The officers didn't wait for more explanation. They vanished around the side of the house, weapons drawn. Vanessa pulled Lily closer, heart hammering against her ribs. Something wasn't right. She could feel it in the way the night pressed down too heavily, the way the wind seemed to carry whispers she couldn't hear. Somewhere very close by, she knew, someone was still hiding, watching, waiting. The basement door creaked open, revealing narrow wooden stairs descending into darkness. One officer led the way, flashlight beam cutting a sharp line down the steps. The air grew colder immediately, damp and heavy with the smell of earth and mold. The basement itself was unfinished. Rough cement walls, an old washer and dryer pushed into one corner, boxes of forgotten Christmas decorations stacked high. The officers swept the room quickly but carefully, checking behind every storage bin, every leaning cabinet. Near the back wall, partially hidden behind a leaning shelf, they found it. A small wooden door, waist-high, set into the concrete. Peeling paint, rusted hinges. The officer knelt, inspecting it with his light. A chain hung loosely from the latch, snapped, not cut. Fresh scrape marks on the floor showed it had been opened and closed recently. He pulled his radio from his belt. We found an unsecured crawlspace access. Looks like it connects to another property, requesting backup. Above them, the house creaked, as the Robinsons and their guests waited, hushed and tense. Vanessa stood outside, arms around Lily, unable to stop her mind from racing. Every second dragged heavier than the last. The officer unholstered his sidearm, nodded to his partner, and pulled the crawlspace door open. Cold, stale air rushed out. The passage beyond was barely 3 feet tall, framed in rotting wood and damp insulation. Dirt crumbled under their boots as they entered, moving forward in a crouch. The crawlspace stretched deeper than expected, about 20 feet before splitting into 2 narrow tunnels. To the left, the space dead-ended under the Robinsons' house. To the right, it sloped slightly upward, leading toward the neighbor's property. They moved silently, flashlights sweeping over old pipes and gnawed beams. In the dust, faint handprints and knee marks were visible. Someone had definitely crawled through recently. The tunnel ended at another small door, this one newer, with a simple bolt on their side. The officer glanced at his partner, nodded once, and carefully slid the bolt back. They emerged inside a dim, musty basement, the Miller house. This side was different, less clean, boxes thrown everywhere, a mattress on the floor, empty food wrappers stuffed in corners, signs of recent living. One of the officers pulled back a tarp covering a storage shelf. Behind it, muddy boots, a tattered jacket. An old wallet, worn and cracked, lay abandoned beside a crumpled photograph. The photo showed a little girl smiling in front of a playground swing set, her father's arm around her shoulders, a tall black man, proud and beaming. The officer radioed in. "We've got evidence of unlawful residence. Suspect may have been staying next door undetected, proceeding with exterior search." Outside, more units had arrived, blocking off the street. Flashlights cut through backyards and alleyways. Vanessa watched, clinging to Lily, when she saw 2 officers break into a sprint down the street, radios crackling. Somewhere close, the man whose hand she saw was still out there, and now they knew he hadn't come for money. He hadn't come for violence. He had come looking for something, or someone, he had already lost. 2 blocks over, behind a strip of darkened storefronts, the suspect was moving fast but clumsily, half stumbling, half running. His clothes were soaked from the rain. He kept glancing over his shoulder, breathing hard, eyes wild. 2 officers spotted him as he ducked between an alley and a dumpster. They shouted a warning. He bolted. The chase was short. His legs, exhausted from crawling through the tunnels and hiding for hours, gave out after barely a minute. He collapsed onto the wet pavement, hands raised, trembling. The officers approached cautiously, weapons drawn but low. "Don't move. Hands where we can see them." The man didn't resist. He stayed face down, gasping for breath, mumbling something no one could understand. Within minutes, more officers flooded the area. He was handcuffed, searched, and pulled to his feet. They found no weapon on him, no wallet either. Only a crumpled photograph shoved deep in his jacket pocket, the same one they had found in the abandoned basement room. The girl in the photo looked about 6 years old. Her smile was missing teeth, her hair in tiny braids. The man, younger in the photo, looked proud, almost joyful. A father. The officers exchanged glances. One of them softened his grip slightly. "What's your name, sir?" The man just stared at the ground, shivering, whispering under his breath. They caught fragments. "She's gone. They lied. She's still here." Back at Mia's house, the news came through the radio. Suspect in custody. Situation under control. Vanessa didn't relax. She watched the flashing lights down the street, gripping Lily's hand tighter, unwilling to let go until she saw the man herself. Minutes later, a squad car rolled slowly back toward the house. In the back seat, through the barred window, she caught a glimpse of him, thin, soaked, broken, his wrists cuffed in front of him, his head bowed low. He didn't look like a predator. He looked lost. Still, her heart hammered in her chest. No matter what the truth was, he had been in the same room as the girls, inches from them, hidden in the shadows. An officer approached Vanessa. "We're transporting him for questioning. He's not armed. Doesn't seem aggressive. Might be mentally unstable. We'll get you a full report soon." Vanessa nodded stiffly, pulling Lily closer to her side. Inside the house, officers began taking detailed statements. The Robinsons gave access to their security footage. Every corner of the house would be reviewed, every second accounted for. Outside, the night felt heavier, as if something unseen still lingered. The suspect sat silent in the back of the squad car, hands clenched around the photo, rocking slightly back and forth. He hadn't come to steal. He hadn't come to hurt. He had come chasing a memory. And somehow, he had believed that memory led him to this house, to these girls, to a ghost that wasn't ready to let go. At the station, they placed the man in a small, windowless interview room. He sat hunched in the metal chair, arms curled protectively around his chest. The crumpled photo had been taken from him during processing and now sat in an evidence bag on the table, just out of reach. Detective Harris entered first, mid-40s, sharp, methodical. He dropped into the seat across from the man and studied him in silence for a moment. "State your name," Harris said calmly. The man didn't answer. His lips moved, but no words came out. Harris slid a cup of water across the table. "You're not under arrest yet, but we need to know why you were hiding inside a house full of children." The man's fingers twitched. After a long silence, he spoke, voice cracked and dry. "Marcus Holloway." Harris nodded slowly, typing into his tablet. "Date of birth?" Marcus hesitated, then gave it. Background checks began in the next room. Within minutes, Marcus Holloway's file came up. 38 years old, no current address. 2 prior arrests, trespassing and disturbing the peace. No history of violence, listed as missing for a short period 6 years ago following the death of his daughter. Harris tapped the evidence bag lightly. "Who is the girl in the photo?" Marcus's eyes flickered toward the bag. His hands clenched into fists. "My daughter, Amaya." "She's missing?" Harris asked carefully. "Dead," Marcus whispered. "Killed. They said it was an accident. It wasn't." The detective leaned forward. "You believe someone lied to you?" Marcus nodded slowly, hollow-eyed. "They said she fell, but she didn't. They took her, covered it up. I know they did." He swallowed hard, shaking. "And I saw her, I swear I saw her, in that house, in the window." The detective exchanged a quick glance with the observing officers behind the glass. "You thought one of the girls was your daughter." Marcus pressed his hands to his forehead. "I thought maybe they kept her. Maybe she grew up there. I had to see, I had to make sure." He wasn't lying. His voice was raw, desperate. But Harris also saw the signs of deep psychological trauma. Grief left untreated for years, twisted into obsession. "Marcus, the girls at that house are not connected to your daughter. You scared them. You scared a lot of people tonight." Marcus squeezed his eyes shut, rocking slightly. "I didn't mean to. I had to know." Harris exhaled slowly. "Where have you been staying?" Marcus lifted his head, defeated. "The crawl space. Empty basements. Anywhere dry." "Did you ever approach the girls before tonight?" "No, I stayed hidden, just watched. I wasn't going to hurt anyone." The room fell into a heavy silence. Outside, Detective Harris's supervisor, Captain Reed, reviewed the notes. mental illness, severe grief disorder, homeless, no criminal intent toward the kids. Reed rubbed his forehead tiredly. Charge him with trespassing. Get social services involved. And for God's sake, make sure that family feels safe again. Marcus sat alone in the interrogation room, rocking slightly, whispering his daughter's name to the empty walls. In his mind, he was still looking for her, still chasing a life that had slipped through his fingers 6 years ago. The next morning, the Robinson house was quiet. The girls were still asleep, bundled in a makeshift nest of pillows and blankets. Only the adults remained awake, gathered in the kitchen over cold coffee and untouched plates of food. Detective Harris arrived just after 7 a.m., still in the same rumpled clothes from the night before. He sat across from Mr. and Mrs. Robinson and Vanessa Evans. His face was calm but tired. The man's name is Marcus Holloway. He's not a criminal. He's a homeless father who lost his daughter 6 years ago. He slid a printed photo across the table, the same picture that had been found in the crawl space. He thought he saw her at your house, thought one of the girls might be his daughter, grown up. Mrs. Robinson covered her mouth, eyes filling with tears. Mr. Robinson stared at the photo in stunned silence. Vanessa didn't move. He never tried to hurt anyone, Harris continued. He stayed hidden. When you sent the photo to your mom, he looked at Lily, now standing quietly in the hallway. The flash must have startled him. He was trying to leave when we caught him. Vanessa finally spoke, voice tight. You're sure he's not connected to anyone else? Not part of something worse? Positive. We've run every check. He's sick, not dangerous. Lost, not violent. The room remained silent for a long time. Only the ticking of the wall clock broke the stillness. What happens to him now? Mr. Robinson asked. He's being processed for trespassing, but we're also involving social services. A psychiatric evaluation's underway. He won't be back here. Is he going to jail? Lily asked softly. Harris shook his head. Not likely. He needs help more than punishment. Vanessa stared at the photo on the table. The smiling little girl, the proud father. Somewhere deep inside, the terror she had felt the night before twisted into something else. Pity. Sadness. She gathered herself. The girls can never know the full details. They'll just be scared. They don't need to know he wasn't trying to hurt them. Mrs. Robinson nodded quickly. We'll tell them it was a misunderstanding, that the police handled it. They're safe. Detective Harris stood, slipping the photo back into the folder. You're right. Best thing you can do is make them feel like this was just a bad dream. Don't let it define their home. He paused at the door. And maybe say a prayer for him too. After he left, Vanessa walked to the window and pulled the curtain back. Outside, the sun was rising, casting golden light over the neat lawns and quiet streets of Willow Creek. Everything looked normal, but she knew nothing would ever feel the same again. The Robinsons canceled the second night of the sleepover. Parents arrived one by one to pick up their daughters, exchanging forced smiles and murmured reassurances. The girls, sensing the tension, didn't ask many questions. They packed up their things quietly and left. By noon, the house was empty except for Mia and her family. Vanessa and Lily stayed for a while, helping clean up the remains of the night. Torn snack bags, half-empty soda bottles, abandoned slippers. All signs of the night that had almost ended in tragedy. Lily moved through the living room slowly, stuffing things into garbage bags without looking up. Vanessa watched her daughter carefully. Lily hadn't spoken much since Harris's visit. Outside, the sun was bright, the neighborhood waking up as if nothing had happened. Kids rode bikes, sprinklers hissed across green lawns. It was supposed to feel normal. It didn't. At home, Lily climbed the stairs to her room without a word. Vanessa let her go, giving her space but stayed close. She busied herself with meaningless tasks, wiping counters that were already clean, folding laundry that didn't need folding. An hour later, she checked on Lily. The door was slightly ajar. Lily sat on her bed, legs crossed, phone in her lap. She was staring at the old sleepover photo, zooming in and out, over and over. Vanessa entered quietly. "Sweetheart, you okay?" Lily didn't answer. Her thumb kept moving on the screen, enlarging the image, shrinking it, enlarging it again. Her face was blank, eyes fixed. "There's no one there anymore," Vanessa said softly. Lily's voice, when it came, was small. "He was right behind us, Mom. Right there. And we didn't even know." Vanessa sat on the edge of the bed. "You're safe now. The police made sure of it. He's getting help." Lily finally turned to her, tears glinting in her eyes. "What if there's someone else next time? What if we don't see them until it's too late?" Vanessa pulled her close, holding her tightly. "That's why we have to stay careful. But you can't live afraid, baby. Fear will steal everything good from you, even when nothing bad happens." They stayed like that for a long time, until Lily's breathing evened out. That night, Lily refused to sleep alone. She dragged her sleeping bag into her parents' bedroom and curled up on the floor without complaint. Vanessa tucked her in, smoothing Lily's hair away from her face. She left the door open and the hallway light on. In the middle of the night, Vanessa woke to the sound of Lily crying softly into her pillow. She didn't say anything. She just climbed down from the bed and lay beside her daughter on the floor, wrapping an arm around her until the crying stopped. Morning came slow and gray. Light seeped through the half-closed blinds, falling across the carpet where Vanessa and Lily slept side by side. Vanessa stirred first. Her neck ached from the hard floor, but she didn't move. Lily was still asleep, curled against her, small and fragile. For the first time in hours, the house was quiet. No sirens, no radios, just the normal sounds of life returning. A dog barking 2 houses down, the hum of a neighbor's lawnmower starting up. Vanessa slipped out carefully, covering Lily with a throw blanket. She stood by the window and watched the street. Across the road, kids waited for the school bus, laughing and shoving each other. Parents sipped coffee on porches. Cars rolled by. To anyone else, today looked like any other Tuesday. But for Vanessa, everything felt slightly off-kilter, like a picture hung crooked that no one else noticed. Downstairs, she made breakfast by habit. Eggs, toast, fruit. Though she wasn't hungry. She packed Lily's school bag even though she doubted she'd send her today. Lily came down an hour later, hair messy, face pale. She sat at the kitchen table and pushed food around her plate without eating. "Do I have to go to school?" she asked finally. "Not today," Vanessa said. Lily looked relieved. They spent the day together, quietly. Vanessa suggested little things, baking cookies, walking to the park, even just reading. Lily said yes to some, no to others, but she stayed close, never more than a few steps away. In the afternoon, a knock came at the door. It was Detective Harris. No uniform, no clipboard, just jeans, a worn jacket, and tired eyes. "Just wanted to check in," he said. Vanessa invited him inside. Lily shrank back but stayed in the room. "Marcus is being transferred to a facility," Harris said gently. "Somewhere he can get real help. He won't be coming back here." Vanessa nodded. She felt the tension in Lily's shoulders ease a little. "Thank you," she said simply. Harris hesitated, then crouched to Lily's level. "You were very brave last night, and your mom was smart to see what she saw. That's why you're safe now. You both did exactly what you needed to do." Lily managed a small nod. After he left, Vanessa closed the door and locked it carefully. Then she sat down across from Lily and took her hand. "Bad things can happen, even in good places," she said. "But that doesn't mean we stop trusting. We just learn to see better. We learn to stay ready without living scared." Lily didn't say anything. But later, when she went upstairs to her room alone, she left the door open. Just a little. And that night, she slept in her own bed. Vanessa stood outside her door for a long time, listening to the soft rhythm of her daughter's breathing. The world hadn't gone back to normal. Maybe it never fully would. But they were moving forward, one night at a time.